Hey everybody, welcome back to Mortgage Ballers. This is Rich Hanlin, and yes, take a moment, breathe deeply. We got him. He's right here. He is live. That is not AI. That is Mr. Glenn Thomas, the man. Wait, if he blinked, so it's definitely him. It's definitely him. Glenn Thomas, I've known you for a long time. Matter of fact, all the way back to Answer Home Loans, my previous company. I've known you here. I'm very thankful for you and all that you do, but you're also an entrepreneur. We're going to enjoy this conversation today. Man, how long you been doing loans?
20 something years now, man. It just seemed long. 20 years.
Yes, it does.
Look, I had no gray hair or anything before I got
Oh,
into
yes.
it.
I used to look young.
Yeah, back in, I think it was 2004 when I was living in Georgia. 2004, 2005 when I first started back in Georgia. When I first started doing it, when you didn't have to, when they didn't have a thing called NMLS. You didn't have none of that.
Right, we didn't have none of that. People don't know what you're talking about right now, but it didn't used to be like this.
People say, "Oh, you want to do loans? Here you go. Here's the rate sheet. Sell it." So, but I loved it. I walked away from corporate America and never looked back because, I've always said I'd rather earn less on my own than more for someone else where I have no control of time and, things like that. So I feel a lot less stressed, and that sounds crazy to say that in the business that we're in, but when you're working for corporate America, you can be doing one thing one day, next thing you got to do a whole 360 and do something totally different and no rhyme or reason because some consultant came in and said it. So, I think we talked about before, I always like that hunter thing. I like to eat what I kill.
And behind him is the carnage of all the people he's eating. I am unhireable because I make a horrible employee. I go in there and the first thing I do is I start picking apart. Well, if you did it this way, you could be more efficient. It's like a shackle on me. You want to see me shut down, send me back out and call me an employee. I would rather, I've learned that I trust myself. And if I stay consistent, I'm going to have highs and lows. But I know over the course of a year, I'm going to be just fine. There was a couple of years where I made all my money in 4 or 5 months of the whole 12, and it became feast or famine. But I also learned how to control my spending habits a little bit better. Living off the averages, it's a little different. So I work hard to go without for a few months and make sure that I have 4 or 5 months of my net cost. And then it's different. I'm not working for the next paycheck anymore because that's scary to me. I'm working for the next paycheck 90 days from now, and it might take me all 90 days to get that one, but I'm not going to work. I mean, that's the stress. Said,
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I told somebody to say the thing. One time I told somebody to say, it was May, right? It was May, just random month May. And I closed a deal and I said, wow, okay, here you go. Here's my September mortgage payment. And they said, huh? I said, yeah, I'm thinking ahead. This is my September mortgage payment, my October mortgage payment. I'm not thinking, I have to think ahead. And, I think that in this business, you when you said something about controlling your spending, I see so many people go out there and, get the money and go out and spend on some crazy stuff. And I mean, you work hard, spend it how you want to, but, perfect example. I was about to buy. I was on the list for the new Cadillac. The new
I was
on the list for this thing for 2 years, and then when I finally popped up, right around the same time, I made a crazy decision to start a new venture. And so I was like, "Do I want a car or do I want a new venture?" I didn't get the car because the car is a depreciating asset. It looked good at that moment, but I know in the long run, that car was going to be a hindrance. It's going to make me move different. Having that car note make me move different when I want to do certain things. Yeah, you got it. What this teaches you discipline. Yeah, I couldn't go back, like you said, I couldn't go back to corporate America because I look at it and be like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are we having a meeting every day? Man, we're not talking about the same, we talk about the same stuff, but.
Man, I'm old, dude. I'm 57 going 58, and I'm going to have someone that's 27. Rich, did you close out a minute early?
Yes.
Are you going to the bathroom for the 8th time today, Rich? And I'm like, yes.
I got a better, man.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Look, I tell people all the time, get to my age, and that's your goal. You call me old, fine, I'll be old. Because what's the alternative? I'd rather be getting older every day and than the alternative. So yeah, you mentioned that 27-year-old. That's when I realized I worked for this company, and all they would do is right when I got to Georgia the first time in 2003. Worked for this company, good money, good thing. But then I asked a stupid question about, because I was a manager at AAA, and I was asking, so what's the path for investment here? And they looked at me like. Then I come to find out all they did was hire newly graduated people from certain schools, Ely schools, Duke, and all these schools. They would bring them into their management program, give them 2 to 3 years to come in with all these great ideas, then they would leave. And of course, these 2 or 3 years, they just pretty much burn through these crazy things. And I just say, you know what? I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. And I said, I'd rather do anything to deal with some 24-year-old who just left Duke and think, his master's thesis is the way to run the world. So yeah, so I get it. I can.
How long you been doing loans? How long?
Like I said, 20
real estate and loans. I know you do both.
20. Like I said, like by 2004. 2004.
Okay.
2004. Yeah.
You went through the. Oh, what did you do before that? Go ahead.
Before that, I was in telecommunications. I was a manager over, now this is going to date us right here, MCI. I was a manager over MCI, and then I went over to AAA. I was with AAA for years, and then from AAA, I moved, me and my ex-wife, we moved to Georgia for her job, and that's when I started working for that company where the 24-year-old was at, and that's when I said, you know what, I can't do this. I'm not going to commute in Georgia traffic to go deal with this. And I started doing real estate. I remember the first year I did 2 deals, and she was like, oh my God, this is crazy. You need to go back to work. I said, don't worry. I got money to say that we can make it. We can make it. You make good money. Come on. We can make it. Next year, I ended up I just found my groove, and I started doing really, really well. And in the third year, that's when I learned about budgeting. Like you said,
okay.
The second year was just like
spend it.
In the third year, I started learning about budgeting. Like I've always tell people, and I've told my kids and my nieces and nephew, I said, if you don't want to do it full time, get your real estate or get your mortgage license, because you never know when it can come in to be a vehicle to help you start fresh. In this day and age, everybody is getting laid off and this and that. And so I always like the security of people always going to buy houses, and people always going to need to refinance. Yeah, I always thought that was I like it. It was my sweet spot.
Yeah,
and then
you
I
work
met
both.
you. Then I met you,
yeah.
And my whole life changed.
Then you met me.
I told my God, this guy is rich. Where have you been my whole life?
Are you in Georgia right now, or are you in California?
I'm in California. I'm being Georgia end of April. But I've been in California because I had a property out here that I'm selling, and I just needed to get back in California and take care of some business. But I will be out there because I need to take care of business in Georgia now. So when I come, I'm probably say about 5-6 weeks and travel. So I'll give you a call.
Where does I know you got family here. Where's your mom live? She lives on the other side from where I'm at.
She lives East Alabama, Douglasville.
No kidding. I did a talk in Douglasville about 3 weeks ago. I drove up Douglasville, and you're right. It's go a little further, you're in Alabama. Matter of fact, my wife and I drove out to Bremen, which is just Alabama. A little bit past.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what 10-acre parcels with barn dominiums look like. And I finally got out there, and I told her, I said, remember the other day I told you last minute I had to drive out to Douglasville for that I thought Douglasville was by Lawrenceville because they had all the vills on it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's on the way out, heading out of the state towards Alabama. Mm-hmm. And I got my truck, and I hauled out there. Thank God I wasn't the first. Found out I was the keynote speaker.
Oh.
I thought I was just a speaker, but I was the last one. But I went at it and I did what I do. And I had a great conversation in front of some incredible people. And I always ask people, like, coming into it, like, whoever invites me, what do you want me to talk about? And a lot of times they're like, just because I don't take notes. Who's in the room? Is it young professionals? Is it first-time homebuyers? Is it all real estate agents? I have a talk for all those people. And I don't mean that like I know everything. It's just I'm in the industry. I'm a young entrepreneur. And they want to know, well, how did you go from 5 people office to over 600? You know, that's what they all want to know, right? How did you scale? How do you even do that? And I enjoy talking about that because it's not what they think. You know, and it's like, after 100, it ain't about me no more. It's about the people. It's all about the people and finding people that don't need someone hovering and over and all the time. These people have to go out there and get their own business. I'm a support staff to them. I'm not trying to run them. That's a whole different scenario. You know, I got people like Glenn Thomas. Oh, we all know Glenn. No, I'm kidding. All right, I'm going to give you a hard time here because
that's where actually Douglas was when I first got my license at. You'd be home.
That explains there's a lot of trees knocked down.
Yeah, it's growing.
It's beautiful, but it's on. Get up there past Six Flags. Is that where you were running when you were young and going 100 miles an hour?
No. Remember, I'm an Oakland boy. I'm a California boy. I moved to Georgia as an adult with two kids, with 2 big-headed little boys. You should know about that.
I got 2 of them also.
Yeah, so I had 2 big-headed little boys. We moved out to Georgia in 2003, 2004. That's when we moved to Georgia. Now, come on, let's get to the hard questions. I know you guys.
It sounds like a challenge.
No, Rich, no challenge. No, I'm not challenging you right now.
All right, I like it. Come on, you can give me for the easy layups. No, but here's the thing about Glenn that people don't know. People say, Rich, why are you still doing the industry? You're 35 years in, man. How long are you going to do this? Well, as long as I got people like Glenn Thomas, I'll stay in because Glenn is one of those people that bring me back down to go, there's a lot of good people in this industry. And I'm not talking performance and good worker, all that. That's all good. But there's good people that I enjoy. I get to bounce my mentor ideas off of, and then I get to see them doing things in their lives, and it balances me out. You know, I was talking to Amanda Ross, talking to Armando Cornejo the other day, people I've known for a while that I'm like, yeah, we're OGs. I get it. But I wouldn't have it any other way. And I love making the new relationships, but I never, ever forget those who have blessed my life.
Yeah, those two
like you, my friend.
Like 2 good people right there you just mentioned. Thank you, sir. And, it's funny. I tell people all the time. I remember years ago when I was an answer or whatever, and people would call me and different things. I'm like, oh, no, I'm cool. I'm a Rich. I like Rich. And they were like, I have been a whore before I was. I mean, not lie. I've been a whore. I've been taken out to dinner and like.
Edit.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've been taken out. Look, I've been taken out. Like, let's talk about what you want to do this. I'm like, I go listen. Okay. I see. Here's the thing about it. I said, I believe in people. I don't have to like you. I have to respect you. Like and respect. Like is a feeling. Respect is the action. I have to respect you. And I'm not going to blow your head up, but this is not about you. It's about another Rich. I said, not only do I respect Rich, I like Rich. I know if I'm having a bad day, I can call Rich up and talk to Rich about nothing about real estate. And Rich would listen to me, give me advice, and then I won't hear it later on from anyone else. It won't be thrown up in my face, or it won't be little whispers of gossip out there. Because, it's a mutual respect. And I tell people, like like the people would start with the N, the N of the X, they always call in and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, man, y'all is just, what is it? You just MLM on steroids. No, I'd rather, when I saw your new office, when I first came and saw your new office first time, I hadn't thinking that.
And he just showed up out of the blue with some cigars.
Yeah, but it was just that I was so happy for you. I mean, truly happy for you because you were at peace. I can see the difference in your personality from when you're in California to when you're out there. You look you lost a little gray. And, since you've been out there, but you
Really?
expanded more.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know there's a lot, but you had a lot more. But it, and it seemed like will be a lot more pressure because it's a lot bigger and all this and that. You just you're doing something and you're doing what you wanted to do that you couldn't do before. So and to see a friend who's living their dream, that's great. And so I was really really happy for you. Then you
Appreciate
brought
that,
good
man.
people in. You brought Nate in.
The name that keeps the name that we shall name, not that we can't name, like the
Yeah, yeah,
Harry Potter series. We shall name that name, Nate
we should
Reese.
name that name, yeah. But no, I just think that it I'm in the perfect place where I need to be, and you gave me the courage and the strength to go out there and do what
This is
I'm
where we're
doing now.
going right here.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go, man. Let's go there.
All right, people. You think I just bring these people on and I pay them to say stuff good about me? I don't.
Hold on.
Matter of fact,
Hold on. Where my check? I get people got paid for this.
hey, cut it, edit that out too. What you don't know, Glenn's he's just being nice and quiet about it. This is what you're going to enjoy about Glenn. Glenn, first of all, what's your uncle's name?
No, my grandfather's.
The grandfather. Thank you. I want set the background for him.
Yeah. My grandfather was a legendary blues artist who Rolling Stones opened for Eric Clapton for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Mr. John Lee Hooker. And so Mr. John Lee Hooker was more than my grandfather. He was more like my father. And so I wanted go back a little bit. Let me go back to really set up. At 21, I went to Chico State. I went to #1 party school in the nation. So, I knew a little about, I knew everything in the world. I mean, I was 21. I just turned 21. So I knew everything. So
of all the schools that I could have picked that you went to, I would not have picked Chico State.
And so I was 21 at Chico State. And, like most college students, totally broke. And so my birthday came around. And so I said, okay. I went down my mental Rolodex of people I can get money from. And it was very short. It was a very short list. Hey, granddaddy, I'm turning 21. Central, I'm come see you. Grandfather said, oh my God, my grandson's turning 21. Nah, it ain't my birthday. Why you calling me? Because he knew what I wanted. And I said, well, I'm coming to see you for my birthday. He said, it ain't my birthday, but you can come. So I make the track down there.
Where was he at the time?
He was in Redwood City, San Carlos, Redwood City. Think of it as San Carlos at the time.
Okay.
Pollock Street is over San Carlos. So I go and I get there, and I have 21. I have a business plan. What I'm going to do is to get this money. I'm going back over to Oakland to meet this girl, and then we going out.
Oh, here we go.
That's the plan. I get the whole rotation down, and so I get there, and he's like, hey, you 21 now. You can have a drink with the old man. Okay, Granny, I got some bad news for you. I've had a drink before in my life. It ain't my first drink. He said, well, I talked to your mother. I know it's not your first drink, but you never been able to have a drink with me, so have a drink with the old man. And in hindsight, I was such a brat because now that I got kids and grandkids, I get what he wanted. But me, microwave, I was microwave before microwaves was out. And so I'm like, okay, let's hurry and get this over with. So he used to drink, he wasn't a heavy drinker. He was early, but he stopped. He used to do a little bit, but he wanted to have a glass of bourbon with me. And because I'm the oldest grandchild, and he wanted to have a glass of bourbon with his oldest grandson. And so they poured me the glass. And of course, I'm 21, went to Chico State. I knew everything. And the first thing I say is like, hey, where is the Coke and ice? They look at me like, no, this ain't how you drink it. You drink it like this. And I'm thinking, well, no, when I went to this fraternity party, they pit bourbon and Coke and ice. That's the proper way to drink it because that's how they drink it at Chico. So you're wrong, Granddad. And that's in my mind. So I'm like, okay. You pour it, and mind you, I'm in a hurry trying to get to where I'm going. Normal person, you let them say happy birthday and everybody cheer, toast. Not Glenn. They say happy birthday. Like some party girl, some fraternity party girl, party boy, I just shoot it. Whoa. The hottest thing I had in my life, Rich. I was just like, oh my God. At that moment, I said, I'm never drinking again. This is it. This is the devil's juice. I don't want anything to do with it. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want no more Grenade. I'm ready to go. I'm going. This is crazy. How can y'all do this to me? I'm your grandchild. This is abuse. And so he like, well, you haven't had a drink with me. I'm like, well, I drunk it. He said, no, you haven't had a drink with me. And I'm like, and I knew what he was saying. He was saying, no, you committed to this, so you're gonna do it. And so he poured, so that he said, now slow down, listen this time. He poured me some more, and he told one of his friends that was there, he said, just give him a little bit and throw a little water in there, because he's drinking 2 fingers and a splash of water. Put a little water in there. I'm like, water? Okay, oh my God. This is getting real weird. And so he's like, okay, so I grabbed the glass again, just like, this is not a glass and candle holder, but I'm like, okay. And he grabbed my wrist, sit the glass down, boy. And I was like, okay.
Hey, it's all right if you're drinking in the middle of the day. It makes for the good story.
Yeah, yeah. I will, it was, this, I wish I did. This is candle holder for real. But I was like, and he was like, sit it down. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down. Why? What's wrong? He said, I want you to relax. I'm like, I am relaxed. You're not relaxed. Relax. He said, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, you ever see like a robot who trying to be like a human, act like a human boy? That was me trying to relax. Now I got so many different things running through my mind. So he said, okay, now relax. He said, pick it up and smell it. So I said, okay. Oh, okay. Put it back down. I said, what's, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, why don't we just get this over with? And he said, okay, now I want you to pick it up a little bit and take a little sip and then put it back down. I did that. He said, put it back down. I'm like, oh, okay. It's not as burning as much. He said, okay, then. All right, pick it up again. Do another little sip. Do it. I'm like, okay. And now I'm tasting flavors and stuff. I've never tasted. Only thing I ever tasted alcohol before is fruit juice. Fruit juice and Coke. And I'm like, okay. The third sip, I do it, and I'm like, oh, this is not that bad. And he said, you see how happy? He said, that's life, boy. I said, what do you mean that's life? He said, that first drink, you was in a hurry, you was rushing, you was anxious, and you crashed and burned. That second drink, you took your time, you savored it, and you relaxed and you enjoyed it. That's life, boy. Slow down and take your time or you're going to crash and burn. And in 21, I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, okay, this man is crazy. We need to commit him. But, I get it.
We need to commit him.
And then I think it was like, I had my first son when I was 25. So like 4 years later, after I had that son, and life is life now, Rich. I'm really life now. I got a little human that depends on me, who every time I touch him, he's crying. I don't think he liked me and this and that. So, and I remember I told my girlfriend, I said, Granddad, I get it now. I understand what you meant when you said, take your time and enjoy the ride. He said, I said that to you? I said, yeah. He said, oh yeah, you rushed too much and hung up on me. Okay. That was my relationship with my grandfather. And so as I got older, I would go visit him. And our thing would be, he was baseball. He loved baseball. He loved baseball. So we would go over there. And, his bar, he didn't have a big bar at all, but people would just bring him bottles. People would bring him bottles, other people would take them out. So he, so Pete, because he drunk, but he didn't drink like that. So I would go over there and pour a little bit of bourbon. We would sit on the couch, and one glass of bourbon might last us a whole baseball, because it wasn't about the drinking. It was more so me talking to my grandfather.
Oh, man.
To him, getting to know him, getting all the stories. And then I thought about it, I'm like, wow. I said, those are the moments that I remember him from. Those are my favorite memories with my grandfather. So I wanted to, when he died, because my grandfather, people didn't know, he never wrote a song. Now, you say you don't take notes. I don't really take notes either. But my grandfather couldn't read or write. So he made all these songs with no, writing his lyrics down. He didn't write anything down. Memorized it. You tell him to play a song, he can go right into it. So I had to learn. This man was a smart man. He just never given an opportunity to learn how to read and write. But toward in his life, he did learn how to read and write. But I wanted to honor him. So after he died in 2001, and when he died, right before he died, about a year before, he and I kept talking. He wanted to start a nonprofit, because we went to this program at this school by his house, and this group called Little Kid Rock was there. So Little Kid Rock go in there and they teach kids how to play music. And it is a beautiful thing. My grandfather got there and loved it. So he would sneak down there and go. And he wanted to do something like that for his own. So we wanted to do it. Life. I'm doing all this. I'm at AAA. I don't have the time traveling, doing whatever. And so we never got around to it. So when he died, I said, I have to do his foundation. So I started a foundation for him in December of that year. Same year, I started a foundation, John Lineker Foundation. And we've been going since then.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he created. So he took so much pride in creating a vehicle for life legacy for his family, his music, because he went and got all his music back, went to court, so he was very proud of that. And so about 3 years ago, my family decided to set up publishing, which I was totally against. I thought it was the craziest thing ever because this man worked hard for this and he wanted to go down. So when they started publishing, and I said, I need to do something to keep my grandfather thing on, and I'm just going. And I think we
Pardon
talked
me.
about it a long time ago. And I just finally said, I'm gonna start a bourbon company in honor of him, because that was our thing. We used to drink bourbon. So I started a bourbon company. Knew nothing about bourbon, knew nothing about anything, knew nothing about the spirits industry. And it's been
We'll
about
talk
a
about the
year.
label on that bourbon. Where'd the label come from?
The label, oh man, I do got one here. The label came from a, a vision of I used to always see my grandfather when I was over there sometime. He had his favorite chair. And then
Me.
also
Mm.
too, the color. We wanted the first label we wanted to be something to represent him. So here's the label. So you see that's the picture of him and his little chair, his little guitar right there. Because he was, like I said, he would have his guitar there, he's sitting in that chair and he's just chilling and always have his suit on. Never without a suit.
I'm trying to
And so
Google something here while you're talking because I want to
mhm.
check something here about him. Keep
Yeah,
going.
really. And so, when I decided to do it, I was trying to think of names to the bourbon, and then I thought of Boogie Chillin, because Boogie Chillin was his first hit song in 1948, the first blues song to go #1 on the music charts. His first song ever sold 1 million copies. So I decided since that was his beginning, that was going to be the beginning in the name of our bourbon company, Boogie Chillin Bourbon.
Can I ask you a
And
question?
sure. Mhm.
Is this accurate? Because maybe people will figure this out real quick. There was a movie called The Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
That's him in The Blues
Aretha,
Brothers.
in Aretha Franklin restaurant, and I think he had three
Yeah.
songs in the South. He's the guy, and I always tell people, he's the guy sitting in front of Aretha, and they said, "Oh, that's him." Hey,
Boom,
hey,
boom,
boom, boom,
boom,
boom,
boom.
boom. Sure, yeah, yeah. So that's my man. That was my grandfather. I started a bourbon company, and I got lucky. I was able to partner with Barson Bourbon Company because there's the former president over there, Susie Garvin. I sent emails from when you said we talked earlier, Rich, about telemarketing and all that. I sent all of my. I don't care. I will hit you up. I'm gonna hit you up. I hit everybody in the industry up. I talk people like you talk to who I spoke to the not the president. I spoke to the CEO of Brown Forman, the company owned Jack Daniels, Wolf Reserve. I spoke to this man. I spoke to the president. I spoke to the president of Russell's. I didn't spoke to everybody. Rabbit Hole, all these bourbon companies. I just spoke to these people because I called them or emailed them, told them what I wanted to do. This is the key that people don't realize. Act like you want to learn something. Don't act like you know everything. I told them I don't really know that. I'm trying to learn. And I know you're an expert in this field, so I would love for any bit of wisdom you could drop on me. And people have been so open to work with me and give me information because I wasn't supposed to be able to get in Bardstown Bourbon Company. No way. Because you need a minimum, I think it was $300,000 minimum to get in there for a PO. And I had 300,000 to drop up at it. So I didn't get rich had that money. I didn't have that money.
Yeah,
So,
right. Not in this market.
and so, so this has been a wonderful journey. As I tell people, the best two broke 2 years of my life because I'm doing what I want to do. And at the ripe old age, I forget. Are we 57 by the time 58, Rich?
I'm getting ready to turn 58. I'm 57 right now, and I think you're
Yeah,
the same as me.
yeah. So we turning 58 May 25th, and this is my Gemini brother.
Yep.
And so, at this point, I'm like, let me do what I want to do. Let me go out there and try and build a legacy on top of my grandfathers for my granddaughters, grandson, for them to know who their great great grandfather was. So yeah, so I made a juice that I've done pretty good. We won 12 awards, and
Wow.
we did this in less than a year. We and and it's a good juice. It's good. It's very good bourbon. It's good.
You know what you should do on that bottle? I saw this little thing. They have these tattoos now that you can get, And when you run this app of your phone over it, it plays either the words
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
music. You should have something on those bottles where it plays a small part of his songs.
See, that's the thing about you, Richie. It's too advanced.
I'm always thinking, man. I'm always thinking.
We working on that. It's good because
Because like,
we're doing a
Rich, that's
collab.
another $300,000. Shut
Yeah,
up.
yeah. No, but we are doing a collab with can't wait. I can tell you about it. They already signed it. We good. We're doing a collab with Gibson and Epiphone guitars because he played those.
That's
And
what he
so
played, right?
yeah, so we're gonna do some really different things that no one has seen before in the bourbon or music genre. You know, you have people, there's bourbons by different artists, different things like that, but you've never seen a collab with a guitar or something like that. So we got some nice stuff we got planned, and a good thing about it, I can just keep doing different things to figure out. I don't know, figure out's not a good word for it, but just do things to keep changing, to keep being. Don't have to be boring. Don't have to be the same old boring bourbon company. I think we are. I'm coming out with a couple. I only want to do one SKU, but I get multiple different releases that's coming out with the next few years.
Yeah.
And one
Hold
thing I
on a second.
wanted to
Tell
do.
people, how many barrels did you secure up front? People, you don't understand when he's talking about he went in. He went in
Yeah, I think. Goddamn, 30.
30 barrels of incredible alcohol.
Yeah.
And is it bourbon or whiskey, or it's bourbon, right?
Okay, okay. I'm glad you asked. Every bourbon is a whiskey, but every whiskey is not a
Not a
bourbon.
bourbon. Yes.
Bourbon, and another reason why I chose a bourbon is because when people speak of the American dream, people get these different things. But I see someone like my grandfather who came from the back of Mississippi, who no one ever thought he'd make it to go to ride to the top of the world. To me, that's the American dream. That's what you can accomplish here in America. Bourbon is the only true American spirit. That's it. Bourbon is the only true American spirit. To be in bourbon has to be American made. It has to be in barrels, the new American oak charred barrels. It has to be 51% corn. It has to go into all these other little things to be a bourbon. So I can take the same formula to Japan, it will be a whiskey. I can take to Ireland, it still be a whiskey. But here in America, just like tequila, the only tequila can be made in Mexico, bourbon can only be made here. So I thought that it was imperative that I put an American legend in the only true American spirit.
Look at you, man. Act like you put some thought process in that.
Just a little bit, man. Just a little bit. Hey,
It's ideas are just ideas, and there's a lot of people have great ideas. Very few people act or attempt to bring their ideas to reality. Michael Radcliffe, he talked about building a CRM called Rad CRM, and I'm like, go for it. I have a lot of people to tell me ideas. About a year later or 10 months later, he goes, Rich, I did it. I made it. Can we try it on Xpert Home Lending? I'm like, yeah, we'll break it for you a couple times, see where, and he, here he is another year after that. But he's one of the few people that did it. Rich, I'm thinking about doing this. Okay. Because I want this to come out right, because everybody has different ideas. I don't know how to not act anymore on my ideas. I try every idea that comes through my head. A lot of it fails, but I'm just like, I have to do it because I got to get it out of my head. Otherwise, I keep thinking about it. Keep thinking about it.
It's gonna be stuck in there. You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night. You're gonna wake up and to me, I think a lot of times we've been scared to follow our dreams, but every great accomplishment in history, every great innovation, someone had a crazy idea. Someone had an idea we can fly. Someone had an idea, let's not walk. Let's,
I had a crazy idea that I could fly after I drank some of your bourbon.
yeah. Okay, yeah. It is funny. I went to, I was in Kentucky and Rich, I like people, I like people, I love people. I remember I went to Kentucky. First day I bottled, January 31st. Very emotional day for me. I remember because that was when I saw it come together. I saw juice going into the bottle. I saw the label being put on it. I saw the cork being on it. I saw the safety seal on it. I saw it going into a bottle. And I remember I had a couple of Quinine with me, my fiance, had some other friends down there. And I remember I had to walk out of there, right? I had to walk out of the
I
bottling
love it.
facility because it was so overwhelming.
Man,
And
that's
I
good.
remember this lady up front,
Mhm.
she's been there from the very beginning. And I guess she's seen this before, right? She's seen many a grown man had this moment, right? And so when I walk out, she like, Catherine, she said, "Hey, how you doing, Glenn? How's it going?" I said, "It's great." She said, "Isn't it wonderful to see your dream? You know, so I'm so happy for you, da da da." And so we're just talking. This lady won the lotto with her coworker with millions of dollars worth of lottery, and she's still working here because she loved the company. I'm like, wow, you better than me. And so so what they do is when they start with Bardstown, she's the original crew, they each were given their own personal barrel. So after 7 years, you can bottle it and take it, or you can sell it back to the company. You know, she won the lottery and she really didn't drink. So of course, so she bottled it and took it home with her. It just gave him out as Christmas gifts. And so she said, "Will you do me the honor of trading one of your bottles for mine?" I'm
Wow.
like, huh? I'm like, "You want one of mine?" "Yes, I want your bottle. I'm going to put it next to mine on my bar because I know how much it means. And I know what you," and I'm like, and so to me, that was
Great
like,
conversation piece right there.
yeah. It was just like, wow. And, you know, and that's why I said, so somebody might buy it. Okay. We get, you know, and then that night we're staying at you ever been to Louisville? Have you been out there?
No, we're going to go up there, though, and do the Bourbon Trail.
Let me know when you go. And so
I'll be there.
Research. I can do research.
I will be there.
So then I go back to the hotel called the Steel, very famous hotel, and everything. I think, don't quote me on, don't fact check me on the time. I might be off a little bit, but I think it's 5:27. I think that was the end of Prohibition time. So every day in the lobby, they ring the bell, still on the end of Prohibition. So the whole hotel staff knew I was there. They knew what I was doing. And so when I get back to the hotel, the manager said, "Excuse me, Mr. Thomas, would you mind, you know, being in the lobby when we do the thing, right?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm already, because I've been drinking all day at Barstown. We didn't, you know, I brought my friend's wife. We made sure she was designated driver. So me and him was just toasted in the back seat while they sit in the front seat. So we get back to the hotel. Great. And then he said, "Would you do the honor of ringing the bell?" I'm like, "Huh? We want you to ring the bell and tell your story." So now, Rich,
Wow.
I'm good, Rich. You know, I'm in party mode, right, Rich? So I'm entertaining. And I tell the story, and this guy, he was he did a podcast. It was like some type of, and I'm mad. I'm mad I didn't really get all this. He told me, but I didn't retain it. But he did this, you know, he had a lot of followers. He did this podcast. He was a reverend. That's what it was. He was a reverend, and he did a podcast about chasing your dreams. And so we stood up there in the middle of the lobby, drinking bourbon, me ringing the bell. We both holding bottles of bourbon, talking about what I just did while I was there for it. And I was like, wow, this is surreal that this man, we talked, and after it was over, we just kept talking, and he kept, you know, "Brother, I'm so proud of you. I'm so, and then I was just like, wow. And this, don't want, you know, Rich, you know, this is not coming off work, but it was just crazy to me that a Southern older white man took so much joy in my chasing my dream. And, you know, people is people. I don't like people. I like people and I don't like people, no matter what you is. But, you know, at that moment, being in Kentucky for the first, you know, not the first time, but being in Kentucky, and this man sit up there holding me so tight and so happy for me, it was wild. I said, okay, I might be doing something right. I might be really finally found the thing I should be doing right. So it's been a hell of a journey. I met a lot of good people, but you know, it's just starting. I'm on that incline. It's just starting, you know. So, you know, I'm sorry I took all your time. Go ahead, sir. I didn't monopolize the time. What's your next question, sir?
Well, I didn't come in here with an agenda because I wanted this to go where it went. I'm so proud of you, man. I am so proud of you. Because it helps you understand, maybe, because I feel like I'm crazy sometimes. What the hell am I doing? Why do I think I got to do this, this, and this? Why aren't you satisfied just being this, this, and this? And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. I get these crazy ideas and I think it won't turn off till I attempt it. You got an incredible story. I'm disappointed. I didn't really know my grandparents.
Yeah.
Shit, my dad died.
I didn't really know my dad. That's why I said John Lee was more of my father
Yeah.
than my grandfather. And this is something and this is crazy how, and you will relate to this. This is one of my grandfather quotes. This is what he said, and this is on his official page today. I didn't know what was coming up, or I just read it. Said the best advice given to me was from my stepfather, Willie Moore, and T-Bone Walker. Both of them told me, once you start, don't stop. If you really want to do it, don't let people disencourage you. Don't let people tell you don't let people tell you that you ain't gonna make it. If you're determined to do it, just keep on plucking along. And and it's wonder, don't you sometimes you wonder like, why don't I just stop? We here. This is difficult.
Like a lot of people check out, man.
Yeah, I be telling people this is difficult, man. This is not for the weak. And you lose people on these type of journeys.
Yeah.
And
I just lost my sister 2 days after Christmas, man.
Yeah, I remember. It
was not a good time.
And it's like, I just lost a friend. Oh man, he's same age as us, Rich, had cancer, and I'm going to do an event. And then my brother called me and said, hey, Mar passed. I'm like, and he texted me, right? And I'm like, oh, he called me by his nickname, Elmo. I'm like, Elmo. And I'm like, what you talking about? Because, I wasn't even thinking that level. And then I called him and said, who was Elmo? He said, Lamar. I'm like, Lamar's not dead. I just talked to him a month ago. He said, no, he passed. He said, and so, yeah, so you have to keep going. You have to keep going because every day is a blessing.
It is.
Every day I wake up, I thank God for letting me open my eyes and be able to see, because some people wake up blind. I thank God for letting me put my feet on the ground and stand up and be able to go out and make a living. So I don't ask a lot, but those three things I always give thanks for, because those are not guaranteed.
Well, I know this. Whenever you talk, and you're going to be coming in, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna slow it down, and we're gonna sip on some of your stuff, and we're gonna have a cigar, and we're gonna slow it down. Whether that's sitting up in a bar watching the Atlanta Braves, I'm gonna take the day off, and I'm gonna enjoy my time with Mr. Glenn Thomas. That sounds like one hell of a day.
Oh, that sounds like a great day. I can't wait, because I mean, like I always tell people, say, my kids now, so you're getting old, they love calling us old, that, right?
I've been called old a lot.
And I tell them, I say, guess what? I'm winning. What's the alternative? What's the alternative to getting old? Either you stop. So I want to keep getting old, and you hope you can catch me. I wish that you can catch me and pass me in my journey. So yeah, so no, let's do that, brother. I mean,
how old was your uncle when he passed?
Gramps, he was 87.
I keep saying uncle.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems so young to me because of how old you were still doing. When I think of my grandfather, man, we were decades apart.
Yeah.
He wasn't even drinking by the time, because he had passed away. I was like, like you're talking generations in there.
Because I think my grandfather was born. I'm the oldest grandchild, so that's one. I'm the oldest grandchild.
Are you grandfather now yourself?
Yes. I just had a new one too. I got 3 now. No, excuse me.
Congratulations.
I don't have 3. I have 5, because my bonus daughter was who was the mother of my first grandchild, Carter. She remarried and had 2 boys. She had 2 kids. And those are my kids right there. Those are my grandkids. And we don't do all that. I don't do all that. So they have 3 grandfathers. So, and I think every child needs that. So yeah, I have 3 biological and 5 total, if you want to break it down like that. Because my youngest son he just had his first child in Lil Zane back in January. Yeah.
I like it.
And to me, and this, Rich, I think I like the grandkids better than the kids.
I
I
got to be
like,
careful if I say that. My grandkids are just babies. Like one just came out, one's about a year old. Boy,
yeah,
they change fast.
yeah, no, but
But I
watch
like
what,
it. Go get me
watch what.
20 more. I'm ready. I told them I'll buy a bus, man. I'll pick those
Look,
kids up.
I'm telling you, they man, once they get older and you can start. Cause my oldest grandson Carter, his father, I said he just like you. I said that's great because Carter, that was my dog, and my granddaughter, man. So I like the whole concept because I don't know about you, but I never thought about being a grandfather. I always thought you had to be heck old to be a grandfather. Because like I used to joke with my grandfather. Ever since I met you, you've been old. Because I think he's like 50 years older than me. I think, or is it more? Well, yeah, he is 50 years. Yeah, he is 50 years older than me. So
You
I'm
know,
like,
Rosalind Grant. I was
yeah,
at Answer Home Loans one time working, and she came pulling in a convertible, and she ran in real fast because she'd got a check that day, and I was flipping it out so I could pay her really quick, and because she had all the grandkids, and I was like, man, who are all those kids in the car? She goes, that's
yeah,
all my grandkids.
yeah,
I got them today. I got
yeah,
it. I was like, you're handling all those kids, man?
yeah,
She goes,
yeah,
oh, we're doing this, 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 and this.
yeah.
I'm like, they totally behave. And oh, heck yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah,
You
no,
know,
I just see
they're with
Rosalind.
me. I mean, I was like, she loved that. I mean, but here's the problem with Rosalind. You know, Rosalind's a beautiful, beautiful woman. And I'm like, that's bullcrap, Rosalind. I'm getting gray and old, and you look like you're
Mm.
damn going on 30 years
Yeah, I
old
know.
with all
She
those
may be sick.
grandkids.
You
She,
know,
incredible person.
you think, let me say this about Rosalind. You are not the boss of me, Rosalind. You are not the boss of me.
And we're not editing that out.
Yeah,
Get him
no,
in
we're not in
trouble.
that out. We're not, no, Rosalind is a sweet person. And yeah, I've seen her with her grandkids, and she is just so, but Rosalind, that voice, her voice is, not like my grandfather's voice, but it got that, the way she speaks, her grandkids, I hear it. Like my grandfather, he never gave me a spank or nothing like that, whooping nothing. It was just his voice. It was just his voice. He just said, hey, boy, y'all know this. Then stuttering a little bit, and Mississippi drag stuttering. I'm like, okay. I don't want to get him mad and see what he can do to me. So, but no, I think being a grandparent, being a parent, all those things are blessings, and we should do it. Like I said, you didn't get a chance to really know your father and your grandfather, right?
My
Yeah.
dad or
So
my dad died right before I turned 21. They had already been divorced. Didn't really have a relationship with them. When you don't have a relationship with your dad, you don't have a relationship. My grandfather died when I was a lot younger. Back then, if someone got cancer, they just cut you up till you're gone.
yeah,
Just so a lot of my family's passed on, Glenn, to be honest with you.
yeah,
I'm trying to break that chain of early deaths and stuff like that by limiting. We had a lot of alcoholism in our family, stuff like that. But I've tried to live a decent life. But damn it, I am going to have me some bourbon with you when I get an
yeah,
opportunity because there are some good things in life too.
yeah. And anything like I was up, you don't never want anybody to be sitting drinking excessive because I've seen it. My father, I lost him right when I was around 2021. And my mother got divorced at 10. And I had a better relationship with his father than with him.
Wait a minute, Oakland. Your dad died right before you turned 21. We're about the same age.
Yeah, it's
Your
like,
dad's name wasn't Robert. Sometimes went by Bob, is it?
nah, his name was Glenn. I'm a junior. So
All right, just checking. And
Just
guess what?
checking.
His son's named Glenn too.
Oh, it is?
No, your son.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. But no, yeah, so, so you don't, like I said, by not having that bond with him, that bond with my grandfather, I think that makes people like us work that much harder to be better parents. Because we give, either there's two ways to go. Either you're gonna be bitter and resentful and my father wasn't there for me, I ain't gotta be there for them. Or you're gonna be the opposite where, you know what, this is the things I wanted. So I'm going to make sure that everything I thought I wanted in a father, I'm going to give to my kids and put into them. I think that's why you and I bond so much. And I never knew this about you. I never knew we had those similarities. Crazy. Like, remember we just found out not too long ago our birthdays are so close together.
Yeah. I'm May 28th. He's
And
May
I'm May
25th. And
yeah.
Memorial Day is because it gives us time to have birthday parties.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
In memory of us.
and that's it right there. That's what I always say too. should
Yeah, I'm always right
memorialize.
around a 3-day holiday, one way or the other, and it's always worked out good for me. I know I was going to take you off. I was going to get you to tell me what a day in the life of Glenn Thomas is like, but you've kind of answered it because it's changed over the year. It's morphing because you have a multifaceted life, whether it's real estate. Glenn has multiple licenses in multiple states. Glenn does business. He doesn't shy away. Electronic business, crossing a state line, like it's no longer a problem. It's like, how can I help? Where's the business? And people know that he can do that. Glenn sells houses in California. He can do house and real estate in Georgia. He knows both areas. He can do loans in either state. Hell, he can do loans in 44 states. But now he's taken on this other venture, but you're already an entrepreneur on the one side because you got to make your own life, your own business. It's only fitting that you took on, but you're the first person that I knew did that. Now my sons have gotten into the bourbons and all that, and that's something you guys all have in common.
Yeah, I was talking to me. I was Justin. I was talking to about that, and I told him, I told him different things, and actually, I'm gonna follow back up with him because I think
I didn't know anything about that you could buy barrels and hold on to them, and the difference between a Happy Van Winkle at 10 years versus a 1 year, and all that stuff, and how it dissipates over time, so there's less in that barrel. And I'm like, well, shoot, maybe I should be crushing up those barrels and holding on to those because, man, they just sucking up all that whiskey over those, or that bourbon over the years,
No, people know those are valuable. People buy those things. Like my old barrels.
I bet they smell good. Man, I bet they smell good.
About it. And here's the thing about bourbon. Because bourbon, okay, let me nerd out for a minute. Okay, Kentucky. I'd say Kentucky. Bourbon can be made anywhere in America, but Kentucky, with those 4 seasons, and you got 4 seasons in 1 week in Kentucky. So when it's hot, the barrel, it expands into it, right? It goes into that barrel. Well, then when it's cold, it comes out. So it's constantly in and out, in and out. But for Scotland, they don't have those weather changes like us, right? So they buy these old barrels and ship them over there because think about it, most scotches has to be aged for about 12 years. And even when it's 12 years, it won't be this color really. So the only way they get it, they start in there and they finish it in those bourbon barrels to get that flavor. Yeah, bourbon, it is a thing. It is definitely a science. It's something that, I think the thing about bourbon and whiskey is that everybody mostly want to see you win. Everybody wants to see you win. I know different friends who have different bourbon and whiskey companies, and we talk and we give each other a hard time. But if I'm having an issue with something, I can call them, and they say, "Oh, this is what's going on. Oh, I'm thinking about doing this. You might want to hold off on that because A, B, and C. Try this and that." So just how in the mortgage and real estate industry, we can call our peers. And it's the same over there. People, what you should watch? This documentary called NEAT, N-E-A-T, NEAT, N-E-A-T.
Okay.
And don't do it on Prime because they're going to charge you $5. Go to Tubi and type Prime, NEAT. And it's a documentary about the bourbon. And it talks about the history of bourbon. It is just such a great documentary, and you can see these people, and for me, I got to meet some of these people in this documentary, which was like crazy. That I'm like nerding out, like I'm meeting Sylvester Stallone, but I mean some distiller, some distiller, and I'm super juiced about that. So because I don't get hyped off celebrities, I don't, but somebody like that to hear their story. You would definitely like me. Very inspirational.
I will check it out. I sometimes I talk about loans. Armando Cornejo, we didn't talk about loans. We just talked about family. It's and that's where I'd rather the conversation go, because I talk about the goal is with these videos is so many people just box us up and say, "Oh, loan originator," and it's like, they all got stories. And they have some really good stories. And by the way, they can help you with loans and things. And this one can help you with real estate, and it's, but I know you have a good story because I've known you for a while. You inspire me to keep being entrepreneurial. I love learning. I got mentors out there, people that spill into my life. You're one of those people. So I appreciate all that,
Yeah, no,
that you
and the
do
same
that.
thing. And I tell people like, you're one of, you are a peer, but you're also a mentor because I've seen the way you built. I remember when you was at Answer, and I knew you wanted to do more. Then when we talked, when the first time I wanted to get my license in Jordan, he was like, and I knew you wanted more. And to see what you've done, yeah, to see when everybody get together, all these people get together from Xpert, and it's a good family type bond. Everybody is just happy for each other. Is no, so you built a community based off how you live your life, and I think that's very inspirational to a lot of people. So I thank you for allowing me to come into your orbit.
Well, I appreciate that. There we go, man. You took
Mhm.
every bit of that hour, every bit of it.
Of course
But
I
I'm
did,
glad you
man. Of
did.
course I did. Of course I did, man. You know I talk a lot of shit. Sorry. Could beat that out. Beat that out.
Whoops. Yeah, that's Armando. I was like, Armando, whoa, we're going to be on the air. We're going to be on the air. I appreciate you taking the time, Glenn. I know you got a lot going on everywhere, but today you gave me an hour of your time. I appreciate it.
Like I told you, I was looking forward to this hour. And I mean, because it gave us both, it made us both sit down and catch up with each other.
Yeah.
Because
It travels fast.
Yeah, you respect my time, I respect your time, and sometimes we don't catch up like we should, but I appreciate it. Now I know we got to put something on the calendar for the Kentucky Bourbon Trail,
I'm liking it.
and because I can give you backdoor access to Bardstown.
I'm liking it.
I know a few people over there now, so I can give you that whole little thing. And then, like, I love, and think about it too, I love going to all the other distilleries. So, no, let's do that. And I'll let you know when I'm coming out there, for we can set some time to just chill, smoke a cigar, talk about grandkids, and talk about everything else over a bottle of bourbon. I said a couple.
We shall do that.
Look, I said a couple, but I mean a bottle. We're gonna do a bottle.
No, we're going to do a couple.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
All right. So normally I do a different Mortgage Ballers, but today on behalf of John Lee Hooker, I'm going to do the Mortgage Ballers salute a little different. I'm going to give you a boom, 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 boom.
Hey.
There we go. Thank you for your time, Glenn. I appreciate you today, and thank you for sharing such incredible stories. No one can buy, you can't buy those kind of stories. Those are real stories, and it's incredible legacy that you're doing on behalf of your grandfather. I got it right the last time.
Yeah.
Your family should be proud, man. I love it that you're not letting that legacy just die off, and you're reviving it as well.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna go get that song and I'm gonna play it all the way home. In my stereo in my car, and people are like, "What is that?" And it's going to start a revolution.
There you go. I did, brother. Thank you very much. And
all right.
As always, it's been great, and we catch up soon.
All right. Take care, Glenn. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, thanks.